Good morning, one and all. I, Dr. M.B. Tadwalkar, am again here now to deliver the second lecture on the first unit. In the previous lecture, with the start of this unit 1, we have discussed the definition of the mechatronics. What is actually the mechatronic system? What are its key elements? And what are the applications of the mechatronic systems? We have discussed all these things so far. Today we will discuss the measurement characteristics of the mechatronics systems. Actually, the two types of the characteristics are actually considered here to judge the performance of the measurement systems. The one is called as the static characteristics and the another is called as the dynamic characteristics. The system characteristics must be known to choose the instruments for the suitability of that particular measuring instrument in the said application. So to decide which particular instrument will be fit for which particular measuring application, for that purpose the characteristics of these systems must be known. Actually, the static characteristics are defined here, in which the performance criteria for the measurement of the quantities will remains constant or when the input parameter is varying slowly. That means when the input applied to the measurement system is very slowly varying or is held constant and the measurement has been done by that particular system for the slowly varying or the constant inputs, that will be considered here as static characteristics. And in the dynamic characteristics, the relationship between this system input and the output when the measured quantity is varying rapidly, that means when the inputs are rapidly varying, in such a cases, for that rapidly varying inputs, what output it produces and what is the relationship between the input and the output for that particular system, that will be the dynamic characteristics. Now, these particular static characteristics are actually considered here with the calibration process. The calibration process has been shown in this. In this calibration, for the static calibration especially, the input-output relationships are obtained when only one input of the instrument is varied at a time. That means, for example, when we are considering the measurement of a pressure with the help of the pressure gauge, in such a cases, the remaining parameters like the volume, temperature, all the other parameters are held constant, and when the pressure is changed, the output of that pressure gauge is actually determined, and the input output relationship with this particular variation only in a single input, that is the pressure, will be considered. The steps for the calibration are shown in the slides. This is actually considered here with the example just now I have discussed, in which the physical input X is considered here as the applied pressure to this pressure gauge, and the actual output of the pressure gauge is considered here along the y-axis with the signal output Y. For various pressure values, the actual output is produced, and that is actually plotted here in this particular graph. And the linear plot is obtained here by which is passing through these particular points. So this is the simple way considered here for the calibration of the sensor. There are various static characteristics that are considered here for the instruments. The few characteristics we are going to discuss: the accuracy, precision, okay, that we will be discussing today. Accuracy is actually considered here as the capacity of the measuring instrument to give the result or the output that is close to the true value of the measured quantity. That means the measured value will be considered here as the result, and the closeness of that measured value with respect to the actual value of the input applied, that is considered here as a accuracy. Accuracy is related to the bias of the set of the measurements. And normally, instead of accuracy, the inaccuracy is normally measured in terms of the absolute and the relative errors. The formula has been shown in these slides, where the absolute error is actually calculated here as a difference between the produced value or the result minus the true value. And the relative error will be actually considered here as the ratio of the absolute error divided by the true value. So in general, the relative error will be considered here as the measured value minus true value divided by true value. There are many other types of the errors that will be considered here at the end of the today's lecture. The discrimination or the resolution is actually considered as the minimal change of the input that necessary to produce the detectable change at the output. So how much change in the input can be made to produce the detectable change at the output, that is considered here as the resolution. And when the increment is from the zero, then it is called as a threshold. The precision is actually considered to be some different parameter than the accuracy, and most of the times the students are always confused with these two words. Now what is the precision? The precision is actually considered here with the capacity of the measuring instrument to give the same reading when repetitively measuring the same quantity under the same prescribed conditions. So when the measurement is done on the same particular quantity under the same prescribed conditions for number of the times, it is the precision. The precision is actually considered to be a necessary but not sufficient condition for the accuracy. That means the accuracy always be there with the inclusion of the precision, but the precision is not at all necessarily there with the inclusion of the accuracy. There are two terms that are related with the precision. That is, the one is the repeatability and another is the reproducibility. The repeatability is actually considered here with the precision of the set of the measurements that is taken over the short time interval, and it is normally carried out with the same operator under the same prescribed condition with the same environment. And in case of the reproducibility, it is considered here with the precision that is considered over the long duration with the different operators, with the different instruments and in different laboratory conditions. This particular slide shows the example of the shooting the darts. The target has been shown in this particular slides, and on the left hand side picture you can see here the darts are actually thrown, okay, and that are actually producing the holes on one particular side of the target, and on the other hand, on the right hand slide, the actual darts are produced, the holes are produced by the darts around the entire target area. So which will be more accurate and which will be more precise? That is the question in your mind. So for that purpose, let us consider this particular slide now with the actual example. When on the left hand side the target has been shown with the center of that is the actually expected here as a target, and in this particular case on the right hand top you can see here the actual measurement with the low precision and the low accuracy, where the holes are produced by the darts around the entire target area around the center of that target. On the other hand, for the left bottom side you can see the high precision is there. All the actual holes are produced by the darts on one particular side very near to each other, but unfortunately it is having low accuracy because it has missed the target, the center. And on the right hand side bottom, the figure has been shown with the high precision and the high accuracy. This is the last slide we will discuss in the today's lecture, that is about the types of the errors. Actually, in the measurement systems, along with this particular absolute and the relative errors, there are other types of the errors that are considered here to be most important for the measurement systems. The first particular category is called as the systematic errors, and these are actually results from the variety of the factors that are shown here. The various measurement conditions are actually involved in this particular systematic errors that are related with the system. And in such a cases, the compensation methods can be considered here for the correction of these errors. And the another particular class will be considered here as the random errors, that will be normally considered because of the noise, especially that is most of the times it is considered with the Gaussian distribution of the noise. And the other sources of the randomness are also considered here in the slides. So this is all about the today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss the remaining types of the static characteristics. Thank you. Thank you all.